Did you know that nearly 1 in 4 adults over the age of 65 lives alone? That's over 13 million people in the United States alone. And while some cherish the quiet, for many, solitude feels like a heavy, unshakable burden. I'll never forget the day it hit me. I was sitting at my kitchen table, the same one that used to be surrounded by family during holidays. But this time it was just me and the faint hum of the refrigerator. The silence was deafening. I remember staring at an empty chair across from me and thinking, is this what the rest of my life looks like? It was a moment of realization that I wouldn't wish on anyone, yet it's a reality many of us face. For years, I believed that growing old alone meant growing invisible, that life would become a slow fade into irrelevance. But then, something shifted. I realized solitude doesn't have to mean loneliness. In fact, it can be the beginning of something entirely unexpected. Freedom, purpose, even joy. In this video, I'm going to share what I learned, how I turned isolation into a time of discovery and resilience. These aren't just theories. They're steps backed by research and proven to help people like you and me live more vibrant lives, no matter our circumstances. And one of these steps, well, it completely changed how I see myself. Every year, millions of people find themselves living alone as they age. For some, it's by choice, a chance to embrace independence after decades of responsibilities. But for many, it's the result of circumstances beyond their control. Maybe a spouse has passed away. Maybe children have moved far away, carving out their own lives. Friends and family who were once just around the corner now seem like distant memories. The silence can be unsettling at first. You wake up to a quiet house with no one to share a cup of coffee or exchange good mornings. The days stretch longer than they used to, and the absence of familiar faces leaves an undeniable void. It's easy to feel forgotten, invisible, or even irrelevant. And let's be honest, those feelings can be overwhelming. But here's the truth. Being alone doesn't mean being lonely. And loneliness? It's not a permanent state. Solitude can feel like a weight pressing down on you, but it can also be the start of something remarkable. A time to rediscover yourself, to reclaim what brings you joy, and to live life on your own terms. If you've ever sat in a quiet room and thought, what now? You're not alone in that feeling. That moment of stillness, while daunting, is a crossroads. It's a chance to choose a new path, one filled with purpose, connection, and even unexpected happiness. And while it might not seem clear now, I want to reassure you, there's a way forward. And it's one that millions of people have walked before you. I've been there myself. I know what it's like to feel like the world has moved on without you. I've seen the days that blur together, the restless nights when your thoughts feel too loud, and the aching realization that life has shifted in ways you never anticipated. But I've also seen what happens when you take small, deliberate steps to reshape your life. Steps that transform solitude into something beautiful, even powerful. This video isn't about quick fixes or shallow advice. It's about real, proven strategies that can help you create a life filled with meaning, connection, and joy, no matter where you're starting from. Together, we'll explore how to reclaim your independence, rediscover your passions, and strengthen the relationships that matter most. So take a moment, breathe deeply. You're not alone in this journey, and you're not without hope. Let's walk through these steps together and uncover the tools you need to build a life that feels full and vibrant again, even when it feels like everything has changed. The first step in navigating this chapter of life is simple, yet profound. Changing how you see solitude. For years, we've been told that being alone is something to avoid, something to fear. But what if it wasn't? What if, instead of seeing solitude as an empty space, you saw it as an open one, a space ready to be filled with meaning, growth, and discovery? It starts with a question. Not why am I alone, but what can I learn from this time with myself? When the world grows quiet, it creates room for you to hear something deeper, the whispers of your own heart, the truths you might have been too busy to notice before. Let me tell you about a woman I once knew. Her name was Evelyn. After her children moved away and her husband passed, Evelyn found herself waking up to an empty house every day. At first, it was unbearable. The silence felt heavy, almost suffocating. But one morning, she decided to try something different. She lit a candle, sat in her favorite chair by the window, and just breathed. For 5 minutes, she let the world be still, and for the first time in a long while, she felt peace. It became her ritual, a small but powerful way to reclaim her mornings. And over time, that 5 minutes turned into 10, then 20. She called it her sanctuary of stillness. It didn't change her circumstances, but it completely changed how she felt about them. And that's the power of solitude when you embrace it. It's not about ignoring the pain or pretending everything is fine. It's about finding something meaningful within it. It's about noticing the small, beautiful things you might have overlooked. The warmth of sunlight through your window, the chirping of birds outside, the comforting ritual of your first cup of coffee. You can start small, just like Evelyn did. Begin each day by writing down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be monumental. Sometimes it's the smallest blessings that mean the most. Maybe it's the smell of the flowers in your garden, or the fact that you made it through another night and woke up to see a new day. Gratitude has a way of shifting your focus, helping you see the beauty that's already present, even in the quietest moments. And if writing isn't your thing, step outside. Take a walk, even if it's just to your backyard or down the street. Notice the way the wind feels on your face, the way the leaves sway in the breeze. These small moments of mindfulness aren't just distractions. They're acts of connection, grounding you in the here and now. The truth is, solitude is not the absence of connection. It's the opportunity to connect with yourself. And in that connection, there's incredible strength. It's a chance to rediscover who you are, what you value, and what truly brings you joy. What might you find if you embrace the quiet instead of fearing it? Maybe it's time to find out. Once you've started to shift your mindset about solitude, the next step is to create a routine that breathes life into your days. You see, a well-crafted routine doesn't just fill the hours. It gives your life structure, purpose, and meaning. It's a way to take control of your time, to remind yourself that every day holds potential, no matter how quiet it may seem. Think about your mornings. How do they begin? Are they rushed, aimless, or are they an opportunity to set the tone for the rest of your day? Crafting a simple morning ritual can make all the difference. Maybe it's enjoying a cup of tea or coffee on the balcony, letting the fresh air awaken your senses. Maybe it's a gentle stretch, loosening up your body while your favorite song plays in the background. It could even be as simple as taking 5 minutes to write down your intentions for the day. A reminder that today is yours to shape. Let me share a story with you. There's a retired teacher named Lois. For years, she struggled to find direction after retiring. Her once busy days suddenly felt empty. But then she made one small change. Every morning, rain or shine, she'd go for a brisk walk while listening to an audiobook. She called it her hour of discovery. For Lois, those walks became more than just exercise. They were a daily adventure. Some days, she'd laugh along with a humorous story. Other days, she'd feel inspired by a memoir or learn something new. By the time she returned home, her mind felt sharper, her body lighter, and her spirit uplifted. What's something you've always wanted to try but never made time for? A hobby, perhaps. Maybe it's gardening, digging your hands into the soil, nurturing something alive. Or painting, letting your imagination spill out onto the canvas. Or perhaps you've been carrying around a story for years, waiting for the moment to write it down. Whatever it is, let your routine include time for that passion. Because routines aren't just about habits. They're about carving out space for what makes you come alive. And here's the beauty of it. Once you've built these small rituals into your days, they begin to guide you. They give you something to look forward to, a reason to get up, and a sense of accomplishment as the day unfolds. Routines anchor you, reminding you that even in the stillness, your life is full of possibilities. So take a moment and ask yourself, what's one thing you could do every day that would make you feel excited to begin? Start there. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be yours. Even if you live alone, you don't have to feel disconnected. Human connection isn't about having a room full of people. It's about finding those meaningful relationships that uplift and inspire you. It's not about the quantity of connections, but the quality. Sometimes, loneliness convinces us that it's too late to form new relationships or rekindle old ones. But the truth is, it's never too late to connect. The key is to take small, intentional steps toward building the kinds of connections that make life richer and more fulfilling. One of the most rewarding ways to connect is by giving back. Volunteering for a cause you care about not only helps others, but it also opens doors to meeting like-minded people. Whether it's helping at a local food bank, mentoring young people, or even volunteering at an animal shelter, you'll find yourself surrounded by people who share your passion for making a difference. The shared purpose creates bonds that are incredibly fulfilling. Another way to foster connection is by joining communities centered around your interests. Many towns and cities have senior groups or hobby clubs for activities like gardening, book discussions, or even fitness classes. And if mobility is an issue, the digital world has made it easier than ever to find online communities where you can connect with others who share your interests, no matter where they are in the world. But sometimes the most meaningful connections come from reaching into the past. Is there an old friend or family member you've lost touch with? A simple phone call, a letter, or even a text can be the start of rekindling a bond that brings comfort and joy. People often hesitate to reach out, but more often than not, the other person is just as eager to reconnect. Relatable example. I remember meeting a woman named Clara at a community event. She'd been hesitant to join at first, convinced she wouldn't know anyone or feel comfortable, but she took a chance, and that decision changed everything. Clara ended up meeting a group of women who became like sisters to her. They now meet every week for tea, sharing stories and laughter that light up their days. Clara told me, "I never knew I needed them until they became a part of my life." Whether it's new friends, old ones, or even a chance encounter that sparks something meaningful, connections have the power to transform solitude into a life of joy and shared experiences. So, take that step. Sign up for that event, make that phone call, or send that message, because somewhere out there, someone is waiting to connect with you too. A man I met told me how he joined a virtual book club during the pandemic, and it completely reignited his sense of connection and joy. As you begin to redefine solitude and craft routines that bring meaning to your days, there's one thing you must never overlook: staying active, both in your mind and your body. Why? Because an active mind and body are your greatest allies against loneliness and a powerful defense against the feelings of isolation that can creep in. Let's start with the mind. Your brain thrives on challenges, even as you age. Did you know that learning something new, whether it's a skill, a language, or even a hobby, literally changes the structure of your brain? It strengthens connections, keeps your memory sharp, and even improves your mood. It's like giving your mind a daily workout. So, what have you always wanted to learn but never had the time for? Maybe it's finally mastering the piano, or picking up a paintbrush for the first time, or exploring recipes that have always intrigued you. There's no better time than now to dive in and see where curiosity takes you. And let's not forget about your body. Movement is more than just exercise. It's a way to remind yourself that you're alive, capable, and strong. You don't have to run a marathon or lift heavy weights. Even the simplest activities can make a difference. A morning walk in the fresh air can do wonders for your spirit and your health. Yoga or gentle stretching can help ease stiffness and improve balance. Or if you're in the mood for fun, put on your favorite music and dance like nobody's watching, even if it's just in your living room. These moments of movement aren't just good for your body, they're food for your soul. There's a beautiful balance that happens when you keep your mind and body active. One fuels the other. When you challenge your brain, you feel more inspired to get up and move. And when you move, you'll find that your mind feels sharper, clearer, and more engaged. Science backs this up. Studies show that physical activity improves cognitive function and boosts your emotional well-being. It's a cycle of positivity that builds on itself. Remember, staying active doesn't mean you have to do everything at once. Start small. Pick one thing, a new hobby, a 10-minute walk, or even just stretching while you watch your favorite show. The key is consistency. Over time, these small actions add up to something transformative. So here's a question to consider. What's one activity, one challenge, or one movement you could begin today that would bring a spark of energy to your life? Whatever comes to mind, take that first step. Your mind and body will thank you for it. There's a spark within all of us, a sense of purpose that keeps our souls alive. Purpose is what drives us, gives us meaning, and makes us feel connected to the world around us. Without it, life can feel directionless, like wandering in the dark. But with it, with purpose, you'll find yourself unstoppable, no matter your age or circumstances. You might wonder, how do I find purpose now at this stage in my life? The truth is, purpose isn't something you stumble upon, it's something you create. It starts by reflecting on what excites you, what brings you joy, and where your heart naturally leads you. Think back to the things that once lit you up. Is it helping others? Creating something new? Sharing your wisdom with those who need it most? One of the most beautiful ways to rediscover purpose is by using your skills and passions to contribute. Maybe you've always loved crafting, and now you can make handmade items to donate or gift to others. Perhaps you have a wealth of knowledge in your field and could mentor someone who's just starting out. Or maybe you've always had a soft spot for animals and could spend time volunteering at a shelter. Even the smallest act of giving back can fill your days with meaning. I remember hearing the story of John, a widower who felt completely lost after his wife passed. He spent months feeling as though he had no reason to wake up in the morning. But one day, he decided to visit his local animal shelter, just to see what it was like. He started volunteering once a week, walking dogs and playing with cats. Before long, he was there almost every day, laughing, bonding with the animals, and forming connections with the other volunteers. John told me, "Those animals saved me just as much as I saved them. Now, every morning, I wake up with a smile, knowing I have a reason to be there." Purpose doesn't have to be grand or complex. It's often found in the simplest acts of kindness, creativity, or connection. And the best part, it's never too late to rediscover it. All it takes is one small step, one action, to remind yourself that your life still has so much to give and so much to offer. So ask yourself, what excites you? What makes you feel alive? What's one small way you could use your time, talents, or passions to make a difference? The answer is waiting for you. It always has been. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on the journey we've explored together. We've talked about reframing solitude, seeing it not as emptiness, but as a gift of time to rediscover yourself. We've looked at creating routines that bring meaning and joy to your days. We've explored the power of building connections, keeping your mind and body active, and most importantly, rediscovering your sense of purpose. Each of these steps is a piece of the puzzle, a way to reclaim your independence, nurture your passions, and thrive even in the face of change. The truth is, life doesn't stop when circumstances change. It evolves, and so can you. So as you step into this new chapter, remember this. Being alone isn't the end of the story. It's the start of a new one that you have the power to write. And with every small step, you're shaping a life filled with meaning, connection, and joy. You're not alone on this journey, and you're not without hope. Take that first step today, however small it may seem, and trust that brighter days are ahead. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to share it with someone who might need it. And in the comments, tell me, what's one way you've rediscovered purpose or joy in your life? I'd love to hear your story. Thank you for being here. Until next time, take care of yourself, and remember, every day is a chance to begin again. Now, I want to hear from you. What's one thing you've done, big or small, to make your life richer when you've been alone? Maybe it's a new hobby, a daily ritual, or a way you found connection in unexpected places. Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear how you've embraced this journey. Your experience might just inspire someone else who's watching. If this video resonated with you, let's keep the conversation going. Tap the like button to let me know. And don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss another moment of wisdom and encouragement. And if there's someone in your life who might need this message, share it with them. It could be the reminder they've been waiting for. Next time, we're diving into the habits that can keep you happy, fulfilled, and thriving well into your 80s and beyond. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Take care of yourself, and remember, every day is a new opportunity to create a life you love.